Mom texted me, "We can't come to your son's birthday. Money's really tight this month." I wrote back, "It's okay, don't worry about it." The next night, I opened Facebook and saw pictures. A big bounce house, catering, piles of gifts for my sister's kids. My son looked over my shoulder and said quietly, "They always have money for them." I didn't answer. I just closed the app. At 8:47 the next morning, my dad was banging on the door so hard the windows rattled. "My name is Elena, and 2 weeks ago I finally faced something I'd been avoiding my whole life." It showed up hidden behind birthday balloons and excuses. My mom's message had said, "Elena, honey, we can't make it to Mason's party. Things are really tight financially." "I'm so sorry." I just stared at it. Mason was turning seven, but like always I typed back, "No worries, Mom, we understand." Here's what makes it harder. For the past 3 years, I've been sending my parents $800 every single month. My husband Jake thought it didn't make sense, but they're my parents. They told me they needed help with bills, with Dad's medication, with keeping the house going. So Mason's party happened without them. 12 kids in our backyard, a homemade cake. I stayed up until midnight putting up decorations I bought from the dollar store. Mason kept asking, "When are Grandma and Grandpa coming?" And every time I had to say they weren't, his little face dropped a bit more. The next evening, I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw my sister Veronica had posted an album. 23 photos. The caption said, "Best auntie ever. Threw my babies the party of their dreams." There was a huge bounce house, a taco bar, stacks of wrapped presents, fancy decorations everywhere, balloons spelling out "Happy 5th birthday." Julia and Jackson dressed in rose gold. And in photo number 7, there was my mom, smiling wide, holding my niece. My dad stood next to her, laughing. That's when my hands started to shake. "Do you think I was overreacting?" Mason walked up beside me. He looked at the screen, then up at me with those big brown eyes and said softly, "They always have money for them." I wanted to explain, to fix it somehow, but what could I say? That his grandparents picked his cousins over him. That I'd been paying for the very life that left him out. I just closed the laptop. That night, I sat at the table crying into my coffee while Jake held my hand. Not quiet tears either, the kind you can't stop. "What are you going to do?" he asked. The next morning, I opened my banking app and found the automatic transfer. 36 months. $28,800 sent to parents who said they couldn't afford a $15 gift for my son. My finger hovered over "Cancel recurring transfer." "They're going to call," Jake said. "I know," I pressed it. I expected to feel guilty. Instead, I felt lighter than I had in years. For 5 days, nothing happened. Then came day 6. At 8:47 a.m., I was making pancakes when the pounding on the door started so hard the windows rattled. I looked through the peephole. It was my dad. His face was red, angry. For a second, I felt like I was 7 years old again and in trouble. Then I heard Mason's voice in my head. "They always have money for them." I opened the door. "Elena Marie Thompson, what the hell do you think you're doing?" He didn't even say hello. "Where's our money?" Your mother in tears. "Good morning, Dad." "Don't you good morning me." "Where's the transfer? What kind of daughter?" "The kind who saw the photos," I said. He stopped mid-sentence. "What photos?" "From Julia and Jackson's party. The one that happened the day after you couldn't come to Mason's birthday because money was tight." His expression changed. Something shifted in his eyes. "That's different. Veronica needed a bounce house that probably cost $300. I cut in. "Dad, I've been sending you $800 a month for 3 years, and you couldn't bring Mason a cake. We were helping your sister with that money." I realized Mason had come up behind me. I could feel him standing there, quiet, listening. My dad noticed him too. "Elena, can we talk privately?" "No," I said, "because I know how this goes. You'll say Veronica needed help, that she's struggling, and somehow that matters more than the fact that you lied to me. You know that feeling when your hands are shaking but your voice stays steady? That was me." "You're being unfair," my dad said. "Am I? When was the last time you bought Mason anything, or came to one of his soccer games?" He didn't answer. Then my mom's car pulled up. She hurried up the walkway, already crying. "Elena, baby, what's going on? Are you in trouble?" "I saw the photos, Mom." She stopped. "What photos?" "From Veronica's Instagram. The party you couldn't afford to attend was for Mason. The expensive one you could attend was for your other grandkids. The day after, using money I sent you." Her tears kept coming. It's not like that. Veronica is going through a divorce and those kids need. And Mason doesn't need grandparents who show up for him. For a second, I doubted myself. I actually wondered if I was making too much of it. Then Mason's hand slipped into mine, warm, trusting, and I knew. Let's talk inside, my dad said again, glancing at Mason. This isn't appropriate. No, I said. Mason deserves to hear this. He's the one who's been hurt. My mom reached for me. Sweetheart, you're turning this into something it is. We love all our grandchildren the same. Do you? I asked, and let the question sit there. The answer was pretty clear. My dad's jaw tightened. We gave Veronica money for that party, because she's having a hard time. The divorce, losing the house, with the money I sent you for your bills. It's our money once you give it to us, he snapped. And there it was. The truth finally out in the open. You're right, I said. It was yours, past tense. My mom's eyes got wide. Elena, you can't just cut us off. We depend on that money. For what? Designer parties for Veronica's kids. Dad, you told me you needed help with medication. Was that a lie too? He looked away. I didn't need anything else. Jake stepped into the doorway then, holding his coffee. He didn't interrupt, just stood there quietly. How much did that party cost? I asked. Roughly, no one answered. Mom, how much? I don't know exactly, maybe 1,500, she said softly. 1,500. Almost 2 months of what I'd been sending them, and my son got nothing. I honestly don't know if they understood at that point. It didn't seem like it. Here's what's going to happen, I said. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. No more money, not a penny. If you want to help Veronica, that's your choice. But it won't be coming from my paycheck. You're being selfish, my dad burst out. We're your parents. And Mason is your grandson. But you didn't remember that when you were too broke to buy him a card. My mom started crying harder, the loud kind that makes it hard to breathe. After everything we did for you, we raised you, we put a roof over your head. 27 years ago, I said. And I'm grateful. But I don't owe you my son's security because of that. We'll lose the house, she sobbed. The house you own outright, Jake said quietly. It was the first time he'd spoken. The one with no mortgage? Both of my parents went silent. Yeah, Jake added. Elena showed me the property records. You've owned that house outright for 6 years, Jake said. So what do you actually need $800 a month for? Want to guess what they said to that? Nothing. Not a single word. Mason tugged on my hand. Mom, can I go back inside? Of course, baby. I kissed the top of his head and watched him go. Once he was inside, my voice dropped. You made my son feel like he mattered less. You let him watch his cousins get everything while he got nothing. And you did it with money I gave you because I trusted you. Veronica needs more help, my mom said quietly. She has 2 kids and no husband. I have 1 kid, I replied, and I'm doing just fine without taking money from my parents under false pretenses. My dad's face was still red. But the anger had shifted. There was something else there now, maybe shame. What do you want from us? He asked. I want you to think about what you've done, really think about it. And maybe we can talk about rebuilding something later, but it won't involve money, not anymore. They left after that, my mom crying, my dad stiff and silent. I stood there watching their car drive away and just felt exhausted. The kind of tired that sits in your bones. Jake came up behind me and wrapped his arms around me. You okay? Ask me tomorrow, I said. That afternoon my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. First Veronica, what did you say to Mom? She's hysterical. Then my Aunt Carol, Elena, your parents are family. How could you? Then my cousin Bate, wow, cutting off your own parents. Classy. Just like that I was the villain, I didn't reply, there wasn't any point. But that night something unexpected happened. My phone rang, a number I hadn't seen in years. My grandmother, my dad's mom, the one who lives 3 states away and mostly keeps to herself. Grandma Rose. Elena Marie. Her voice was clear and sharp. I heard what happened today. My stomach dropped. Grandma always knew everything. About time, she said. I blinked. Wait, what? I've been watching your father pull this for 30 years, she went on. Playing favorites, using money to control people. I'm proud of you for finally standing up to him. I actually had to sit down. You are. Your grandfather left them more than enough. They don't need your money. They never did. They just got used to taking it. We talked for an hour. She told me things I'd never heard before. How my dad had borrowed from her for years, always some new emergency. how he played her and my grandfather against each other, and how Veronica had learned the same habits. "Don't you dare give them another penny," Grandma Rose said before we hung up. "And bring Mason to visit me next month. I've got 3 years of birthdays to make up for." I cried after that call, but they were good tears. 2 weeks went by. My parents didn't call. Veronica kept sending nasty messages until I blocked her. The family gossip chain was working overtime. Then something shifted. 3 weeks after I stopped the money, I came home and saw my dad sitting alone on the porch steps. No mom, no anger, he looked smaller somehow. "Jake's not home," he said quietly. I checked. "I wanted to talk to you, just you." I almost turned around and got back in my car, but something in his face made me stay. "5 minutes," I said. He nodded and stood up slowly, like his knees hurt. "I've been doing the math," he said. "How much you sent us over 3 years? 28,800. I know. I kept track. What we actually spent it on." He pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. "Veronica's car payment. Your kids' private preschool," he said, looking down at the paper. "That party, another one before that, new furniture for her place, her divorce lawyer's retainer." I just stared at him. "None of it was for us," he went on. "Maybe 500 total actually went to bills." His voice cracked. "I watched you struggle after Mason was born. I saw you driving that old Honda with the broken AC. And I still took your money and handed it to your sister. I didn't see this coming, not at all." "Why?" I asked quietly. "Because Veronica asked," he said. "Because she cried. Because she made me feel like if I didn't help her, I was a bad father." He finally looked at me. "I never stopped to think about what that made me to you." I didn't know what to say. "Mason called me yesterday," he continued. "While you were at work, he asked if I didn't like him because he wasn't as fun as Julia and Jackson." My heart just stopped. "What did you tell him?" "The truth, that I've been a terrible grandfather, that it had nothing to do with him." He wiped his eyes. "Elena, I'm not here to ask for money. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know that I see it now. What I did, what we did." Before I could answer, a car screeched into the driveway. Veronica jumped out, already yelling. "I knew it. I knew you'd come crawling back to her. Dad, she cut you off. She abandoned you." My dad turned slowly. "Veronica, go home." "No, she's turning you against me. Against your grandkids. Your kids have everything they need," he said, his voice firm. "Mason had nothing from us. That's not Elena's fault. That's mine." Veronica's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the fact that I took money from your sister and gave it to you, and I'm done." This was not how I expected this conversation to go. Veronica looked at me, then back at him. "You're choosing her. Choosing what's right. Finally." Veronica just stood there, her mouth opening and closing, then she looked at me. "This is your fault. You always have to be the victim." "Veronica," I said calmly, "I sent them $800 a month for 3 years. They gave it to you. 4 parties, lawyers, preschool, while Mason got nothing. That's not me being a victim, that's just what happened." "I needed help," she shot back. "I'm going through a divorce. And I was going through new motherhood, postpartum depression, and money stress," I said. "But I still sent money. I didn't have because I thought our parents needed it." She looked genuinely surprised. I didn't know you were struggling." "You didn't ask." The silence after that was heavy. Then something I didn't expect at all, Veronica started crying. Not angry crying, just broken. "I can't keep doing this," she said. "I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. My ex emptied our accounts. I'm drowning. I thought if the kids had big parties and nice stuff, no one would see how bad things really were." My dad stepped toward her, but she held up her hand. "No, Blaine's right. I took advantage. I let you take from her because it was easier than admitting I couldn't manage my own life. You'd think I would have told them both to leave. Honestly, I surprised myself." "Come inside," I said. "Both of you." We sat at my kitchen table. I made coffee. And for the first time in years, we actually talked. Veronica apologized, really apologized. She told me how the divorce had wrecked her, how she'd tried to cover it up with material things, how she'd been jealous of my stable marriage, and had taken that out on Mason without even realizing it. My dad apologized again, too. He said he'd been enabling her because he couldn't stand seeing her hurt, even if it meant hurting me.